Hi, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And instead of the normal Saturday morning show that we put out every Saturday morning, we decided to talk about the birds of prey because a Jedi just got a black mask and he put it all over his face. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. Real quick, we want to tell you about a couple things we're doing right now. First off, don't forget about my comic drive for service members. You can find out all the information about it at the comicdriveforservicemembers.com. There's also a video on this channel. And also, Jupiter Jet, a comic book, hey, we're talking about comic books in this video, that Ashley and I co-wrote that came out this year is in the Goodreads Best Graphic Novels of 2018. And we're asking people to do what, Ashley, with that?
We are asking them to go and vote in the first round of voting.
There'll be a link in the description below.
You go to the link, you scroll all the way to the bottom, you type in Jupiter Jet Volume 1 with the number 1, that's an important character, and then you click vote.
Yep, you gotta be
That's all it takes.
You gotta be signed into Goodreads to do that.
Yeah.
It's so simple that even a dummy that works for Black Mask in Gotham City that gets paid nothing could figure it out. Okay, so yeah, the big news broke. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor is Black Mask in the Birds of Prey movie, and we're gonna be talking about Black Mask and him being a villain, and is that a good thing for this movie, a bad thing for this movie? Real quick, Ashley, I want a quick 30-second reaction from you. Birds of Prey movie from DC with Margot Robbie, Huntress, and Black Canary. Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think?
Cautious optimism.
Okay.
At this point, I don't know if I fully believe that any of the movies after Shazam are actually happening.
That is a fair point.
And I don't know if I will believe it until they enter pre-production. However, they have made a number of announcements about this movie, and I'm excited by all of them. So, softly excited.
Well, to be honest with you, I got to tell you, this announcement, Ewan McGregor being cast in this movie as Black Mask, makes me more excited for this movie, actually. Black Mask is, I think, a perfect choice for this movie. He is a Batman villain that has not been utilized a lot. Most famously, before this, probably his biggest role was he's sort of the main antagonist in the Batman Under the Red Hood animated film.
The greatest DC animated film?
I can question that, but yes.
By the way,
if
you guys want to hear Jason and I talk about that, we did a commentary for it over on our Patreon, so you can go and check that out.
Now, he's basically a gangster in Gotham City. His actual name is Roman. I've never heard this pronounced out loud. I think they might have said it in the movie. I can't remember. It's Sionis, I think,
yeah,
or
let's go with that.
Sionis.
I'm sure people will tell us that we're saying it wrong.
Sure. Now, depending on which version of DC continuity you're in, sometimes the Black Skull is real, and sometimes it's just a mask that this guy wears to cover up his face. It goes back and forth.
I like it being real.
It's
dumb, but I like it.
I like it being real too, and I think for the purposes of this movie, they're gonna make it real. Now, it's interesting because he's kind of a scumbag. He's kind of a wily Gotham mobster, and we've seen Ewan McGregor play these kind of parts before. Actually, most recently in Fargo Season 3 with the woman who was playing the Huntress. What is her name?
Mary Elizabeth Winstead, formerly Ramona Flowers.
Ramona Flowers. So, Ashley, what are your thoughts about Black Mask, this Batman villain from a very recent Batman villain, recent of the 80s. What do you think about Black Mask as the villain of this basically all-woman movie?
I have a couple different thoughts about it. I have seen a lot of people being like, Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's such a nice guy, and he does play these more complicated, darker characters.
Counterpoint, Gary Oldman played Commissioner Gordon.
His breakout role was as Rent Boy in Trainspotting, who's kind of a giant scumbag.
He's played villains before.
Yeah, and I think he's great. I love him in Trainspotting. I know he was very celebrated for, what's that show called that I didn't watch? Fargo.
By the way, he plays twins, and one of them is the scumbag, and one of them is not so scumbag.
Yeah. So I think he's a really interesting casting choice. I like Black Mask as a Batman villain. I like that we're going with a Gotham villain.
Is it because he's black?
He's not black. He's white.
I mean, his face is black. He's called Black Mask. It's in the name.
He's Caucasian.
I wasn't talking about race.
He's a full case of the Caucasians. My question, though, is in a Birds of Prey movie that seems to, and we've had these announcements that they're soft doing a Gotham City Sirens, why not a lady villain?
Well,
So
I think this movie is Gotham City Sirens, basically.
So do I.
I think this movie absorbed that.
But we haven't, other than Harley Quinn, we haven't seen a Poison Ivy cast, and we haven't seen a Catwoman cast.
I don't think you're getting either one.
They are classically the Gotham City Sirens, or Harley, Ivy, and Selena.
I think whatever the Gotham City Sirens movie was became this movie.
I think you're probably right.
I think they took that script and just retitled it Birds of Prey.
So my hope would be, in a perfect world, if I get to be in charge of this movie, or if Kathy Ann comes to me and asks me to do a rewrite on it, I would really love if Black Mask is who we think is the villain.
He's a fake-out villain.
Yeah, halfway through, Pamela and Selena come up as like the true villains of the movie. I think that would be really cool. I just think there's a real opportunity here, since we didn't get a female villain in Wonder Woman, while we are getting one for Wonder Woman 1984. I think it would have been fun to do that here. I understand Ewan McGregor is a big star. He brings a lot of clout. There's a lot of geek excitement around this.
And do you think that they're not going to go... Do you think that maybe this story, the reason why it is a male villain is because it's the idea of these strong female superheroes taking down the patriarchy kind of a thing? And I don't care what you write in the comments about that. This is a valid conversation.
Absolutely. I want to think that. I don't know. I don't know enough about
a scumbag version of the patriarchy.
I don't know enough about this movie and the production on it to give it that credit.
We have not read the script, and no one on Reddit has either.
No, but I would like to believe that.
Sure.
Yes. And I do like that, since we are going with a lesser-known Batman villain, who is a character I think is interesting and dynamic, that we are going street level. Like Black Mask, he's
a gangster.
He does have a weird skull, but he's not super powered. He doesn't have super powered.
So far, nobody in this movie has superpowers. They're all street levels.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this, because you brought up Poison Ivy and Catwoman. Now I think both of them won't work in this movie. If you were going to put Catwoman in this movie, I would rather her be on the Birds of Prey team. Also, Poison Ivy invalidates that, because she has powers. If you were going to do a female villain, has to be the villain of this movie. You know what? I would make the argument for Talia.
Or Lady Shiva, who's a similar character type.
Much better, who should have by this point been a villain on Arrow.
Who we haven't seen. We've seen a couple different incarnations of Talia.
And apparently, especially since Cassandra Cain is her daughter.
That's right.
Yeah. And Cassandra Cain, Orphan, is going to be in this movie.
Which was recently confirmed.
So, do you think that this is basically going to be, let's talk about a little bit, let's throw some predictions out here about the plot. Do we think that this is basically just going to be gangster does something evil, and the team, these women, form the Birds of Prey to take down the evil? Do you think they're a team at the beginning of the movie, or do you think we're getting their origin story?
I think there's a good chance this
and Harley Quinn's in this movie too. She's
I think there's a good chance this is Lady Suicide Squad, as led by Harley Quinn. So something is going to happen, and she's going to go around and be like, "Hey you, come join my team," and they're going to go off.
And I'm not as bad as Black Mask is.
Yeah, and I'm not as bad as Amanda Waller, so I'm not going to fake you out maybe completely. My fear is that something is going to happen to one of these characters, and this is a classic horror movie trope, and it's going to be a revenge movie because one of them's going to be horribly assaulted.
I can tell you who that's going to be.
I don't want that to happen.
No, I don't. Here's what I'm going to say. I don't think it's going to be about an assault.
I hope not.
What I think it's going to be about, because one of these characters classically has a gangster killed my family origin, and that is Huntress.
I was going to say, who?
Now, if they make it to where Black Mask 10 years ago killed Helena's dad and his family, which is like what happened in the comic books, but is a different Bertinelli, is a different gangster that killed the Bertinellis. You just make a Black Mask in this movie, sort of like Joker in Batman 89. That way she becomes the Huntress, and she's been spending 10 years to get revenge on Black Mask. That actually makes a lot of sense to me, and I bet you that is the plot line of this movie. It's very classic with the character, and also Black Mask, a gangster.
Also, people are already kind of commenting on whether or not they think there are going to be larger DCEU cameos showing up here. Like,
what do you feel?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
And I hope not. But I keep seeing people commenting that they think Batman is going to show up.
Nope.
No way. And that they think Wonder Woman is going to show up, especially because the Wonder Woman announced date was pushed back. I don't want Wonder Woman in this movie. To me, I don't want that crossover.
Yeah.
I don't mind those two worlds being a little bit more separate. But if there had to be a larger appearance by a Justice Leaguer, I think she's probably the best option.
You know, if she's going to be in this movie, I want her in this movie as Diana Prince in her civvies. And I just want her like reading a newspaper and being like, I'll take care of that. Or even on a cell phone, like, yeah, Bruce, did you see them? I'll go talk to them. And it's the hint of Birds of Prey 2, Wonder Woman's gonna get down to business.
It would be really cool if Catwoman was in this, if we saw Diana working at the Louvre and like Selena stole something from her.
Yeah, the problem with that is that's a whole new plot line.
Sure.
Again, since we don't know Catwoman's even in this movie.
We don't.
My prediction is Catwoman's not in this movie at all. I have a feeling that they have a blockade on Catwoman, that Catwoman has to be used by the Batman movies.
Probably.
Would be my prediction. I have a feeling this is all the characters that the Batman trilogy by Matt Reeves was willing to give up.
Yeah. And if
also,
this gets us Cassandra Cain on the big screen,
yeah,
that is fine by me. I love that character.
Yeah, I don't know. I think overall, Black Mask is a really strong choice, I think, for this movie. I think Ewan McGregor is a great casting. He's just a great actor. And again, he knows how to play a scumbag. And the interesting thing about Black Mask is that even though he basically is Black Red Skull,
yeah, truly,
I don't know, he'll have an interesting look. He'll really have an interesting look, especially if they do something like maybe he was a gangster and then he's inspired by Batman and all the vigilantes to wear a mask. He's like, oh, I'm going to be more than a gangster.
We're going to see the reason why he either is wearing the mask or he got horribly mauled. There's no way you're going to cast Ewan McGregor and not have his face on camera.
I have a feeling he starts the movie as Ewan McGregor and then over the course of the movie he becomes Black Mask. So that's what I think.
Cool.
That's what I think. I'm very excited for this movie overall, and to be honest with you, I'm excited to talk about it more. So go down below this video, click subscribe if you like this channel. Also, click that little bell beside subscribe if you want to hear us have lots of nerdy conversations.
And for more exclusive geeky content, check out patreon.com/Jawiin.
See you around the next video, super friends.